Minister.
Exactly. What a great pleasure it is to serve under your chairmanship. And may I start by thanking the Honourable Member for Leeds North East for securing this debate, and thank the honourable members who have contributed. In addition, that would include the member for Bath, for East Dunbartonshire, for a number of very useful interventions by the honourable member and my friend, member for Sheffield Central, and of course the SNP spokesperson, member for Glasgow Central, and my opposition colleague, the member for Ealing North. And it was good that the honourable member for Leeds North East started by referring to the YMCA publication, Inside the Cost of Living Crisis, the experiences of young people living at the YMCA, which was, I think, published earlier today, as some other reports have been. And I think if we can draw colleagues' attention to that report, starts with a statement with which I think all of us can agree. It starts that everyone should have a fair chance to discover who they are and what they can become. And I know the YMCA across the country does great things to enable people to achieve that objective. But there are, Ms. Ali, real challenges facing our economy after 2 decades of low inflation. The world is now confronted with a high bout of fast-growing prices, and the United Kingdom is not immune. And while this takes place, we should all remember that our friends in Ukraine are at war, and the United Kingdom will continue to support them in a number of ways. We also recognize that President Putin is using energy as a weapon of war, pushing up prices and piling pain on citizens across the free world, and particularly in Europe. And we should also recognize, as has been mentioned today, some young people can be in a particularly precarious position because they're still in education or they're just starting out on their careers. They may not have had time to build a financial safety net, and many are at a critical stage of identifying and then seeking to accelerate their potential. Now, I want to be clear, this government is responding to act to help those that are most vulnerable to get through these economic tough times. I want to start by just answering some of the questions that were raised, and very directly on the question of the uprating of welfare benefits in line with inflation. I want to be honest, there are difficult decisions to be made. I want to reassure people that helping the most vulnerable will continue to be central to our decisions, just as it was when we announced support of £1,200 for millions of the most vulnerable households. The government is required to review the rates of benefits annually to determine whether they have kept pace with price inflation. The Work and Pensions Secretary is yet to conduct her annual review of benefits, and more will be said in the medium-term fiscal plan. I think I heard the Honourable Lady, the SNP spokesperson, ask about why the Universal Credit Stand allowance is lower for people under 25. She asked me to respond to that, and that's to reflect that these claimants are more likely to live in someone else's household and to have lower living costs. However, it is acknowledged that some claimants under 25 do live independently, which is why Universal Credit includes separate elements to provide support to claimants for these additional costs. As the Chancellor has said, the United Kingdom will always pay its way, and we remain committed to fiscal discipline. There will be more difficult decisions to take on both tax and spending as we deliver our commitment to get debt falling as a share of the economy over the medium term. We will publish a medium-term fiscal plan setting out our responsible fiscal approach more fully at the end of this month. The only real way to create better jobs, deliver higher wages and spread opportunity is growth. Growth is what frees us to invest in the services that ordinary people need and give people the financial security to live their lives as they want. And stability is a prerequisite for growth. I would remind honourable members that the United Kingdom, in tackling these challenges in the economy, the fundamentals of the UK economy remain resilient. Unemployment is at its lowest level in nearly 50 years. Our growth rate since 2010 has been higher than that of Germany, France, Italy, and Japan. and it is forecast to be higher than that of any G7 country this year. The Honourable Member, the Labour spokesman, shaking his hands, but these are the facts. Madam Chairman, our need for confidence and stability is not at odds with the help we're providing to those who are struggling with the cost of living today. That is why this government is focused first and foremost on helping everyone with the cost of living, most notably the cost of energy. The Energy Price Guarantee and the Energy Bill Relief Scheme are supporting millions of households and businesses with rising energy costs. And the Chancellor has already made clear that they will continue to do so from now on. I must finish up, I may. From now until April next year. The government has also announced £37 billion of targeted support for the cost of living this financial year. Many young people will have benefited as their wages got a boost from the national minimum wage increase. As a result of our changes to the national minimum wage from April 2022, people aged 21-22 saw a 9.8% uplift to £9.18 an hour, while 18 to 20-year-olds received a 4.1% rise to £6.83 an hour, and 16 to 17-year-olds an equivalent 4.1% increase to £4.81 an hour. I've really just got one more minute, so I think that's correct. So, in that case, I'd love to. Thank you very much.
Can you explain why people of a younger age aren't worth the same as somebody who's older? Here, here.
Yes, I can. And the fundamental point of that is that we are investing in young people, and that regards as many businesses wish, that many companies wish to invest and add additional costs for training and support to tap into those skills so that people can then earn higher wages later on. It is because companies are able to invest in young people and have the incentive to do that, that young people can then earn more. Because the Honourable Lady shakes her head, but she should recognise that the national minimum wage is not a cap on what young people can be paid. It is a floor. It is a floor on what people can be paid, and that young people, if they get the skills, if companies invest in those skills, young people can earn more. Our youth offer provides guaranteed foundation support to young people searching for work on universal credit. This includes 13 weeks of intensive support to help new claimants into suitable opportunities and provision. Youth hubs, which are co-delivered by the Department for Work and Pensions and local partners, and youth employability coaches for those with complex needs. We will always encourage labour market participation and make it pay to work. Through universal credit, the government has designed a modern benefit system that ensures it always pays to work and withdraws support gradually as claimants move into work, replacing the old legacy system which applied effective tax rates of over 90% to low earners. Questions were raised by the Honourable Member, the Member for Bath, about free school meals and breakfast clubs. The government spent over £1 billion annually delivering free school meals to pupils in schools. Around 1.9 million disadvantaged pupils are eligible for free school meals, as well as an additional 1.25 million infants who receive a free meal under the Universal Infant School Meal Policy. And the government is also providing an additional £500 million towards the cost of extension. And this has been via a 6-month extension to the Household Support Fund. The Honourable Gentleman, the Member for Leeds North East, talked about Breakfast Club. The government is providing over £200 million a year to continue the holiday activities and food programme, which provides free holiday club places to children from low-income families, and the government is providing £24 million over 2 years for the National Breakfast Club programme, benefiting up to around 2,500 schools. Madam Chair, I am testing your patience. 2 further points, if I may. The Honourable Member for Sheffield Central and others asked some questions about support for students, university students. He may know that the government has increased maintenance loans every year, meaning disadvantaged students now have access to the highest ever amounts in cash terms. He may know that the government has made £260 million available through the Office for Students, which universities can use to boost their own hardship funds. He may well know that many students also benefit from the wider package of cost of living support, and he will know that maximum tuition fees will be frozen until 2025. He mentioned one particular idea, which I would be grateful if he could write to me about thresholds, which I'd be very, very grateful to get his insight on that issue. Madam Chairman, I wanted to just close on the issue about mental health and young people. This is an issue that's close to my heart, and I think we're all aware that young people, more those with the issues about the response to COVID, and issues have had a dramatic effect on mental health and well-being. The government does appreciate the importance of responding to the significant demands for children and young people's mental health. The government is delivering record levels of investment in mental health services. These investments are a part of the NHS long-term plan, including an extra £2.3 billion per year for mental health services by 2023-24. This will give an additional 345,000 children and young people access to NHS-funded services or school-based support by 2024. Madam Chairman, it's been an interesting and pithy debate. It is clear that we owe it to the next generation to create conditions to deliver higher wages, new jobs, and improved public services. We owe it to young people to deliver stability and a strong economy on which they can build their future securely. And we must make sure that they have the safety net they need today. So the government will help them with the cost of living today and continue to invest in them for the future. That will be what young people benefit from, and that is what the government is focused on delivering.